All right, what's up, everybody? How we doing? Hey, hey. Your time is a finite resource. Once it's gone, you can't reclaim it. So let's use good use of our time, right? I always talk about leveraging our time and working smarter, not harder. Some people say let's work smarter, harder, and more. If you do all that, you're going to be in a much better position. So I don't know who Valerie Burton is. Does anyone know?
Valerie Bertinelli?
Who's she?
Valerie Bertinelli? Oh, Burton, no.
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 So she's somebody.
No.
Anyway. All right, tell me something good. Anyone have anything good to share? So Sal's got an apartment rented. Good job. Maria.
Have a apartment.
Maria almost has an apartment rented. Lorraine is in Disney, but she just got a new listing in West Hempstead.
She's there early for the Spark. Tell her it's not for another couple of months.
Yeah,
What's that?
The
The
Spark
Spark
thing.
down in Disney.
Ah, yes. Yeah, she's in Orlando. So she just got a listing, and shockingly enough, where do you think it came from?
Sphere.
Let's take a guess.
Sphere.
Her sphere. Okay.
Sphere.
So that's where the majority of business comes from. If you were sitting in on the accountability activity meeting, we talked about how your sphere of influence and your follow-up with them should be your number one priority, because that is where the vast majority of business comes from. Yeah, why not? Thank you.
Well,
Terry, I think you're on this, so let's just keep the theme going. If you could talk, where did this come from? Was it from a complete stranger or your sphere of influence?
takes a second to figure out. Oh my God, he's talking.
I'll answer it for you. It's from her sphere. So she's got a nice townhouse, 155 Monroe. She kicked a couple of buckets all in one. It's a sphere of influence for sale by owner. So she killed two birds with one stone. So that's I think it's already up, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so it's a couple blocks from the water, great location in Long Beach, 3-bedroom, 2-bath townhome. So
The more trips you make to Long Beach, the shorter it seems to get.
yeah, it gets a little more familiar.
It's like, yeah, I'm going to Long Beach back and forth.
Although in another month, it is not going to be fun to drive to Long
It's
Beach.
never fun.
No.
'Cause in the winter, it's cold and windy and you're trying to still find a spot. And in the summer, there's nothing to be found.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's on the West End or I don't know, but
I know where it is. It's right in the middle.
okay.
Yeah.
Sal,
Yeah, baby.
congratulations. You got your commercial property on the contract. How many properties do you think you showed them?
Can't keep them number, but probably maybe 30 or 40.
30 or 40 properties,
They'll be
several offers on several properties, right? And lowball offers. And they finally found one they really liked, and they lowballed and they lost it,
fine. Oh, really?
right?
Mhm.
So finally, Sal controlled the situation and said, hey, listen, over time, you're running your business out of this. You're trying to, basically have an asset in the future. You really need to make aggressive offers. We've done this before and you've lost out on it. So clearly the commercial market with these type of properties, there's a strong demand for it. So we have to be more aggressive, and you advise them, and you basically, in some ways, not coerce, you did a lot of
I showed
objection
them- I
handling.
showed them the value of the property. I showed them that some of the stuff they were looking at wasn't in their best interest, that they weren't getting the bang for the buck that they're getting with this place.
So he stayed with it, and over time, they valued his opinion and ultimately made more competitive offers and finally got something. So congrats.
What were they lowballing at? Because what they got it accepted at was pretty low compared. Was it
No,
like
this
four?
wasn't the property that they were lowballing, it was
Oh,
other
different
properties,
ones? Okay.
yeah. What do they do? What kind of business?
And where'd that business come from? Where'd this client come from?
Business is printing, they do printing business, and it was a lead that I had gotten
So how many times you follow up with them, you think?
constantly following up.
Constantly following up.
Because they showed interest,
Yeah.
they came here, and
Mhm.
I spent Friday nights here for hours, meeting up and going through everything from Prexy, LoopNet.
Yep.
MLS. I was doing everything, and so they always showed an interest and never like, well, I wouldn't say There were a few times where they went MIA.
Yeah.
And they were gone for
Yeah.
weeks.
And you panic.
And then we got like. We needed an answer. One of them actually said, hey, yeah, will you do this? And I'm reaching out. And they were nowhere to be found. And then all of a sudden, a week later, they would pop up back into the picture and then, oh, we were away, we were out of the country,
Yeah. So it's a validation that follow-up does
Oh,
work, right?
yeah, and then I had to deal with a lot of extended families too.
Yeah, a lot of opinions and a lot of family members having opinions.
Yeah.
We see that a lot in some situations with parents, right? You're showing these home buyers 30, 40 houses, and then all of a sudden they find the right one, they get an accepted offer, or they want to bring the parents in before they make that offer. And some of the parents poo-poo the house and
they haven't been on the whole journey.
they haven't been on the journey. They don't know the war zone that's out there and the crap that's out there. So yeah, you might have an opinion, but it's based off nothing. It's based off this one house. You haven't seen the 40 that we just saw.
Yeah, and that happened almost right before we
Yeah.
made the deal. His uncle came and was like, oh, you're paying way too much for this
Yeah.
place, and was ready to.
And based off what? Based off when you bought a place 20 years ago?
He bought property, but he bought them in the nineties
Right.
and the early 2000s when they were like,
Yeah.
years on the dollar.
30 years ago.
We have Spark in Orlando, Universal Studios, October 7th through the 9th. There's a real blurry photo there of Dennis and a few other people. So registration's open. It's at the Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort at Orlando Studios. So if you're thinking of going, put it in your calendar, something to work towards. So registration's open. The hotel block is open. And it's for everybody. No matter what level you're at, you will get a lot out of it. Headliners, Drew Hanlon. I actually I checked out a podcast of his this past week, and I like him. He seems like a real good speaker, and so check him out. You can Google him and check out his podcast. Karen Allen, maybe next week I'll think of listen to a podcast. I don't know much about her, but I think mindset is really important, especially in this market. So if she's a mindset expert, that could be a good speaker. Few others, someone from National Association of Realtors, Jeff Loeb, sales and marketing, David Knox, real estate speaker, and Brian Eisenhower, real estate coach. All right. If you're not on Weichert affiliate sales associates, join. Also join our group. If you do not subscribe to our Weichert Agent Success Hub, jump on it. There's some good videos. I'm going to force Joseph to do a few more, maybe next week. I have some ideas I want to do that I'm going to upload on there. So check it out. If you know anyone looking for maybe a change, give us their name and you'll get 10% of our company dollar for the life of you being here and that agent being there. Again, it should not be your primary focus, but it is a way to kind of artificially get your split up and actually make some additional money for doing basically nothing but an introduction. Tuesdays before the sales meeting, we do a short meeting. You guys find it useful?
Yes.
Yes,
Say yes.
yeah.
And again, if you know anyone looking to join, let us know. All right, let's talk market absorption rate. Let's talk about some numbers. Farmingdale, 20 active houses. So that number, kind of where it's been, right? 15, 20, 23. A bigger number is how many homes went on the contract over the last 30 days. So if we look at how many active houses there are compared to the rate homes have been selling over the last 30 days, we're less than a month. Same thing in last week. I think we were less than a month in Farmingdale last week. And then 11 days on the market. That's a big change. So we've been seeing similar market absorption rates, but we were seeing days on market actually increasing. I think we were seeing like 40 to 60 days in a lot of cases. Across the board in Farmingdale, Bethpage, Massapequa, Hicksville, you're looking at probably an average of under 20 if you look at all those numbers. That's a big change. So that's something that
And that's big, was like 2 months.
yeah, at one point. Yeah. So that's something that should be a conversation piece. What's going on in the market? Well, we're still in a seller's market. We look at market absorption rates and we're still hovering around 1 month or so, give or take. But one big difference we're seeing in the market right now is homes that are getting listed are selling much faster. The days on market significantly went down closer to 20 days, which is the numbers we were seeing post-COVID. And that's something we can educate our buyers, sellers, about, where we were seeing 40 to 60 days only a few months ago. Average prices, Farmingdale came down a little bit, right? I think it was at 630 at one point. So now it's at 700. Bethpage, 689. Massapequa, I think across the board, they went down. Average prices that are selling. Now, that doesn't mean that home prices are going down, but the average houses that are selling have went down. Doors presentations, we need more of them. You probably are. So the new system, it's hard to keep track.
I used to count, I did, but now I have to just know if I did them.
Yeah. PR, if you have any press releases, let us know. Here's some of the office training. And we also have our quick start series. So we're way into it, but we still have several more. So Wednesday's tomorrow, correct? The 16th is tomorrow. Search alerts, market reports, and listings. Then we got behavioral alerts and automation, squeeze pages, landing pages. The landing pages now, there's two different ways to do it. And one of which is really easy now to make really custom web pages on your website, like really good ones, similar to the email design. How you do the email design, you click over, you bring over the blocks, you can add pictures, videos, all that good stuff. Now you can make web pages on that. So if you go on our website and you look up our careers page, it looks real different, real customized. That was done through the new custom pages. So if you do have ideas, maybe Alessandra, you want to make a web page, leaving New York and moving to North Carolina, and having a whole page on that. And if you use a lot of SEO and key terms, all of a sudden it might be searchable. So if someone searches it, or at the very least, if you have anyone thinking about moving, you have a QR code or a link and you send it to them. And now all of a sudden you look like an expert on people thinking about leaving New York and moving to North Carolina. You create your database on referral sources where you say, hey, I'm the expert. If you're thinking about leaving New York and moving to North Carolina, I have a network of realtors all across North Carolina. So depending on where you're looking to move, I could get you in touch with the right people for a seamless transaction. And I guarantee you, if you're competing against 2 or 3 other agents and they don't have a web page and a network of brokers and a whole, what looks like a system for someone to do it, you're going to win that business 10 out of 10 times, in my opinion. So that might be something.
Okay, sounds good.
So whatever ideas you might have, maybe it's a Farmingdale rental specialist. I represent, one of my niches is I represent landlords in the town of Farmingdale, and put together a webpage on what you do, how you vet the tenants, how you screen them, how you do background checks. I guarantee you're going to win that business 10 out of 10 times if you share that webpage and you showcase all the things you do to vet a good tenant, because we know in New York, that's kind of the most important thing, is vetting a good tenant, because if you don't have a good tenant, it could be an absolute nightmare. And then when you run into someone that has a rental house, you share that link, you have that webpage with a lot of information, and then boom, you're the expert. You're a landlord you're representing landlords across Farmingdale, and you're the go-to person.
Definitely.
And then Maria's gonna have the same page.
Yeah. Can copy Maria's page.
Yeah, let her do it first. So there's a lot of good stuff we could do on our website. The website, our default website is really good, right? Somebody could go on it, but why not have some of these custom pages, which is your niche, whatever business you want. What do you want? Do you want a more commercial business, Sal? Maybe then you create a web page on your services to commercial buyers or commercial owners. You might want to stay away from that and not go anywhere near that.
Everybody's sitting down with their computer
In the
and just
morning.
walk around and help us
Commercial profitable. Yeah.
use the software.
I would be, you know what? If
Because I don't use it. I want to, at least I used to run in the PTA, I was in charge of publicity, and our website presence online was the homepage that the software company gave you. And I had to figure out how to use the software and create all the different pages and create the website. And I did all that. It was easy to do because it was user-friendly
Yeah.
software. I don't know what the heck's going on. And I'm pretty good with diving into the software.
It's easy once you know. So what I would say is, and we can put together a workshop, everybody think about a custom web page that they might want. And Alessandra, yours might be that, hey, leaving New York to move to North Carolina. Yours might be the Farmingdale rental, whatever it might be. Think about a topic or a specific web page. And then in the next coming weeks, we can do a workshop to do it. And maybe we'll do one in person and one in Zoom. You guys think that?
Pages of like, you know, your previously sold, your rentals that you've done, your buyer. Things that you've, worked with buyers, what you sold, your sellers, what you sold, listed.
I think that's a great thing where you can actually,
Some people see I do business, I'm busy and like, you can trust them to get the job done.
so I don't know if you heard on the Zoom, but kind of like a case studies.
.com, if
Mm-hmm.
you click on that, your profile, it'll show you all your deals, how much
Yeah.
you've done, your total of business, how many seller side, listing side. I want people to see that.
That would be good use, and even case studies of specific deals you've done, and maybe this was the biggest challenge, and this is how we overcame that challenge, or whatever that might be. So I think that's a great possible page.
Cause that's things I have in my head, and sort of how to get going, so it's like, wow.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Success track, again, everyone should be doing it. Alessandra, once you're done with fast track, fast track, I would say 30 days later, then sign up for the success track. Okay, it's kind of an overview. It's a 1 hour overview. Really good stuff. So I think everyone should do it. And then again, not you right now, Alessandra, but 30 days after fast track, you should do it. It's free, no cost. It's all, it's a Zoom. Form updates. So we upload the sales meeting and we're starting to record them now. And I'm actually remembering to hit the record button, which I did. Maria forgot to remind me. So we're going to get that up as well. Here's our inventory. Unlike my brother, I'm not going to go through it line by line, but you know where to find it. Go to Matrix, go to office listings, and you can see the inventory. We have, this one's pretty much done, right? All right, donezo. There's no more. Wellwood. So that was, I think 6 groups came. We got 1 offer inspection today. All right, let's talk about objection handling. Potential buyer. We've been doing this over the last couple of weeks. Reason being is because we got to get better with our conversations, right? So I just actually got done with a presentation that Sharon saw of a publication. And you could tell I was one of their early presentations. And I almost wanted to give them advice. And not to say I'm an expert in giving presentations. I'm not an expert, in that sort of business, but I think when I sit down with a seller, I do give a pretty good presentation. I think if I'm speaking with a buyer, I can handle objections fairly well. Can I improve? 100%. But I think there's some people maybe on the Zoom or in person that might not be comfortable enough to close a second time, a third time, ask the right questions to get information that you can use to kind of cater to what they're looking for. So we got to be better at whether it's real estate conversations or more importantly, objection handling. Objections are good. If you're getting objections, that means they probably like you enough where they're willing to work with you. When you're not getting objections, it's, you meet with a seller and they say, I have no questions. That was a great presentation. Thanks so much for coming. I have to run. You're done. You don't stand a chance with that person. But if they do ask a lot of questions and want to dig in deeper and have objections, that means they're working through some things and you're going to help them get through that. So a buyer might say, I want to keep renting for now. We're saving up for a down payment. I want to keep renting, waiting for rates to come down, whatever that might be. What could you say?
Well, home prices are gonna go up, it's gonna offset the same, like you're trying to say.
So we're going to go over this response and I'm going to go over my response. I completely understand it's natural to feel cautious, but here's the thing. Real estate has consistently been one of the safest investments, even during economic time, even during tough economic times. Unlike stocks, which could be volatile, home prices tend to appreciate over time. And that's when you buy a home. You're not just investing in property, you're investing in the stability of your future. So I might say some version of that, but what I would also say is, listen, there's not a lot of homes out there, and I know it is challenging to be a buyer. However, now is a better time than it was in the past. And what I would want you to do is get your ducks in a row. So that way, if the right house did pop up, you'd be in a position to buy it. The last thing I want is for that perfect house in that perfect area at a price point that kind of works for you to pop up. And now you're not in a position to even act on it. So I think we should get our ducks in a row, be prepared and be patient. And it's okay to continue to rent while we look and be patient, but you really need to have your ducks in a row to be in a position to buy a house when the right one presents itself. Does that make sense to you? So that's something I might say. Does that make sense to all of you? Another thing you could use as an analogy, I completely understand it's natural to feel cautious, but here's the thing. Real estate has consistently been one of the safest investments, even during Tucket. Didn't we just do this one? Yeah, never mind. All right, what to say at open house? If you're in the meeting, I talked about open houses, and we're going to go over questions that you can ask that's going to make you a little different and could be the difference between getting that person to just say, yeah, Maria, it was really nice meeting with you. I'll let you know if I want to buy it, walk out the house, or come back and have a real conversation of what they're really looking for, what their real timeline is, and all of a sudden they're going to be a little more honest with you on their situation. So some greeting dialogue tips. What if somebody walked in and you said, how you doing? I'm Jared from Micro Realtors. Thanks so much for coming to my open house. Please sign in. Here's some disclosures I want to go over with you. I know everything's online, but I have some brochures for you. And I just wanted to ask you, Maria, what's your goal for today's open house?
See if
You're
it's
get-
gonna be my next house.
Boom. I think we just broke a barrier, right? If you answered it that way. So is that different? How many times you think an open house attendee got that question? Never. Absolutely never. I'm excited to take you on a tour of this home. What questions are on your mind? Boom. And they might say none, but they might say, I do have a question. And all of a sudden it breaks the ice, right? That's the goal, is to kind of get their guard down. And I've said this in the past in sales meetings. Have you ever talked to somebody that said at an open house where there's clearly a barrier? You know, you're a salesperson that's going to try to sell them a house and they are guarded, you know, and they don't want to talk to you, and they know you're the only way that they could see this house. And then eventually, during the course of that tour, you feel them just let down their guard, be honest with you, and it's a great feeling when that happens. So how do we do that? These dialogue tips are a way to do that. I assume you saw the house online. What is the favorite feature? What drew you here? Maybe it's price. Maybe it's location. You're gonna learn something. It's location because my sister lives in this development too. You know, my sister lives in this community. Now all of a sudden, you know, location is probably a lot more important to them than other things. Maybe it's the updated kitchen. My biggest draw was the updated open layout and the new kitchen. Boom. Now you know the condition and the kitchen is the most important. So whatever you learn in that question, you can really hone in on and have responses catered toward that. Are you here looking as an investor, buyer, or seller? Most people can say buyer, right? But that's a probing question as well. And again, it could be a way to break the ice. Well, I do have to sell a house, but I'm actually looking to buy. Boom. Wow, I just learned that in the first 2 minutes of the guests coming in here. That's really good use. That's really good information that I'm going to use, right? These are probing questions, right? Tell me a little bit about your home buying strategy. They're gonna say, what the hell are you even talking about, home buying strategy? So these are all questions to just kind of get them maybe feel unprepared, and all of a sudden you're going to be the savior to prepare them. Just probing questions to get things moving. How long have you been looking for a home? We probably all asked that at some point, right? Well, I just started. Boom. Now I know maybe an email list, emailing them listings might be something that I'm going to strive for. You know, I've been looking forever and I've seen every house on the market. Boom. Now maybe I'm going to talk to them about if any agents have ever helped them with off-market properties. Ooh, what's that? How have your real estate experience been going so far? Well, it's really frustrating because, I tell my agent everything I want to see and they don't even come to my open house. Boom. Now I know that that's a pressure point for them and they want to be suggested houses. When are you hoping to buy a new home? Another version of that I ask a lot. If everything goes the way you want it to, what's your timeline? When are you looking to close? Boom, now I know if they're real early in the exploratory stage and maybe they're getting married or maybe their timeline is after a kid gets done with school or whatever it might be, I'm gonna learn their timeline. And now my conversations with them are gonna be completely different based on what their timeline is. Have you had a buyer's consultation and assembled your real estate team? Well, what's a real estate team? Well, one of the services is we are, quote unquote, a one-stop shop. We are a one-stop shop, and my goal is for you to have all your ducks in a row with your real estate professional, your lender, your attorney, your home inspector, all working together to make it a seamless process. And also that way, when we do find the right house, we can keep the ball moving and move fast. Have you seen other homes this weekend that you're interested in? I don't think we asked that, but I would totally ask that question. I'd be happy to meet you there later and walk through it again and give you a price opinion. That could be difficult depending on, the availability of looking at it. There's some regions in the country where there's an expectation that most houses are in a lockbox and it's really easy to show. That's not really the case here, but you could still say, I'd be happy to drive by it, look at the listing and give you an opinion on price. Are you free this evening to meet on Zoom and get your real estate team set up? I kind of like that. Most people are going to say no, I think, but you're showing that you're available for them. And what if they say yes? You just got an appointment, right? It's a Zoom appointment, but it's still an appointment. My most successful clients meet for a buyer's consultation. We work on an offer strategy, a real estate team in advance. So that way, when we find the right home, they're in a power position to win. So you might combine those two together and you're asking for an appointment. Similar to off-market properties, I have a database of exclusive listings not advertised online, or a database of home sellers with different timelines that are in the process of getting their home ready to list, because that could be somewhat true. Can I add you to my preferred customer list to inform you of these upcoming exclusive listings? If you present that in the right way, that's believable, and you say it, you practice that a million times where you have a good delivery on that, you're going to get a good email address. I promise you, you will. Do you have a home you'd like to get a price opinion on? So, Sal, do you have a home? Would you need to sell a home in order to buy?
Yes.
One of the services I provide is providing a pricing trend analysis that gives you kind of a better idea of what you're going to net with the closing of that. I am available to come by after the open house to do that, or perhaps Monday evening, which is better. The choice. And they might say, whoa, I'm not. And that's fine too, but ask for that appointment. Ask for it. Call for feedback on the home. If they aren't interested, ask them if there's a price that would make them interested. What do you think about that? Hey, you interested in the house? Yeah, it was okay, But let me ask you a question. Is there a price that you would move forward? Is there a price in mind where if you did get accepted that you move forward?
670.
Boom. It might be the lowest offer in the entire world, but now you kind of, where they're at. And maybe, okay, let me present that and give you some feedback. So it doesn't hurt to ask.
Feedback, they didn't even bother to look at your offer too much.
Maybe, and that could be it. But now all of a sudden you have an expectation that they're going to pick up the call next one, that you call them back. Hey, I'm going to present that. I'm going to get back to you. They're going to pick up your phone call. Now all of a sudden that's 2 times you're talking to them. Unfortunately, the seller is looking for a significant amount more. What I will do is I'll keep you in mind if that changes. By the way, you mentioned one of the draws of this house was the location. there was a house up the block. Did you see that yet? I already saw that one. Well, let me ask you a question. At what price would you be interested in that house?
Right.
Let me go make the offer. So boom, now all of a sudden they're gonna get another call from me and they're gonna answer because they're expecting a response. Now that you've seen some houses this weekend, has your search changed? These are just probing questions, right? Are you gonna ask all these questions on every guest? No, but do you think
No.
these are good, different questions that are gonna get a dialogue? Yeah. The open house app will start to send them automated emails, so definitely put them on open house app as well. Can we do this? House hunting just got easier. So we mentioned during the market absorption rate page that there is more opportunities for home buyers. However, the caveat is homes are selling much quicker, but there's some good news out there. So chief economist at Redfin says now is the best time to buy in the last 2 years. I think that's right. Mortgage rates are trending down and there are more homes on the market, maybe not a lot more, but there are. So mortgage rates compared to what they were 2 years ago and prices remain high. However, there's significantly more inventory and home prices haven't went up, drastically. I think Long Island was about 8%. It didn't feel like it, right? It felt somewhat flat.
1 year period?
Yeah, over a 1 year period. So more homes are coming to the market each month. So if you look at December 24, all the way through March of 2025, there's more listings, right? And it's a decent amount more.
Because the inventory improved.
Inventory is improving, not quite to fill the buyer pool that we have. We still have a significant buyer pool. However, it is better news for home buyers. I think we're starting to see that, right?
It's all on the way to spring to list.
Yeah. New listings are up over the last couple of years. You can see that as well. So if we look at 2017, 18, 19, and 20, we're approaching some of those numbers that we've seen. And remember, 17, 18, 19, 20, it was still a seller's market, but it just wasn't the frenzy we've seen in 21, 22, and 23.
Is this based on New York?
No, this is national. So bottom line, for anyone who's looking, who's been waiting for more choices, this is exactly what they've been hoping for. And we have to educate them on that, right? Hey, there's Mr. Buyer, it sounds like you've been looking for a while, and I know that there were limited choices, but now there's more choices than there has been in many years. This is exactly what you've been hoping for. So because more homes coming to the market, it means more options and better shot in finding ones that fit your needs. To make sure you don't miss out on any of the latest listings in the area, lean on me, a local real estate agent. All right, I have a team, I could help you. So let's spend some time in trying to get, some good buyers. What's a good tool to give those buyers the time of day and attention it needs? Maria, what have you been using?
Put up search alerts and I use the dashboard on Matrix.
Is there a one-page form you use? Our client hot list. So if you saw the email that went out yesterday that I send out on Mondays, I added 2 links. One is for the client hot sheet. So you can add your most probable deals in the future and put those in there, print it out once a week and put together a follow-up system to do it. When it's out in front of you and you see it, you're going to spend, you're going to put more energy on that. And you're going to follow up more with them because you have it on a piece of paper before you, because they're your quote unquote best clients. And then the other thing was the daily checklist, the weekly checklist. And then if you look on that weekly checklist, there's another tab where you can put your monthly numbers in. So it's a good way of tracking and be more strategic and more designed in your follow-up. All right, let's do this.
Well, you, Mark, and I've been thinking, effective prospecting is more than just the hunt. It's about keeping the information you already have fully up to date. And while this can be time consuming, it's key because, quite simply, accurate data ensures your outreach efforts are targeted and effective, saving you time and increasing your conversion rate. You don't want to put a massive effort into a few prospects only to learn that they already moved 6 months ago or decided to sell on their own. Use automation technology to help you stay on top of information as it changes. You already have the best tech stack in real estate, MyWaker. Make sure you're using its full potential to make your business run smoothly and effectively. This way, you can continue to target your efforts and communications in the most personalized, significant way. See you soon.
See the text message from Jeff?
No, I just grabbed my phone.
I want you to-
What? Who wants me to mention so? All right. Needs, wants, haves?
Patty and I are gonna have a co-op in Great Neck available, probably by the end of the week. It's $269 to $299. I went to Expedia, and nice ones are going for like $340, so like 3 is like really pushing it, $299 is kind of pushing it, but we'll see.
There's another co-op in Huntington coming to the market and a 2-bedroom co-op in Farmingdale coming up as well at 25 Elizabeth.
It's a great.
Joseph is in, where is he? DC with the family. He'll be home tomorrow. But I just got a text. If anyone wants to do open house in Bethpage, Lindenhurst, or Huntington on Saturdays, so you have Sundays, Easter. So Saturday, there's going to be the majority of open houses in the market. So if anyone wants to do an open house and host it, today's Tuesday, gives you plenty of time to do your social media posts, your calls, your door hangers, and all that good stuff. So reach out to me today, or Maria, or Joseph, and kind of do that as soon as possible. That way you have the time to properly market it. All right. Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? Sold. Have a good day, everybody.
Val.